All right, good morning, guys. Hopefully, you were able to follow along with the slideshow directions and get your drawing this far. We made a big X across the paper, just connecting the corners. And then you came up with whatever your measurement was to make this back wall. I used 2 inches down from the top. So I just took my ruler, I measured 2 inches down from the top and made my dashes and then connected them all. Right? If you don't have a ruler, you could just take a sheet of paper and mark whatever you think the measurement should be, and then just use that piece of paper in line with the edge of your drawing and that little dash, and you can make those measurements all the same, and you could do it that way. All right, once we have everything this far, we're going to erase out this large X that's against this back wall. And again, this is going to be an interior of a room eventually. So we're going to erase out this back wall, or this back X shape, just that's inside of this rectangle. And once we do that, we can already start to kind of notice that illusion taking place where it looks like we have a back wall, a floor, a ceiling, and the two side walls. Okay? All right. So the first thing that we're going to do in terms of drawing anything down in the room is we're going to place our vanishing point. And we're going to use that vanishing point the same way that we've been using it for the letters and the basic shapes. And we've got to kind of be precise with this. We're going to put it right where those two lines crossed over each other to make that little X, right? So that's where you're going to put your vanishing point, okay? So we're going to practice a couple basic things on here. We're going to do a door, a window, and a bed, and then you guys could add in whatever else you would like, okay? So on the right side wall right here, we're going to put in a doorway, okay? One thing to think about is if there was a person standing against this back wall, this vanishing point represents the height of the person's eyes. So the top of their head would be somewhere in this area. And the reason why that's important for us is because when we're creating things like furniture and doorways, we want to make sure that they're the right height so they actually make sense in the drawing. Okay? So we're going to start by drawing the height of our doorway in. So if I came straight across, the person couldn't even walk through it because this would be their eye height against this wall. So this would probably be the height of their head, and we obviously want to go a little bit above that. So I'm going to make mine about this angle. So I still have my ruler going to the vanishing point, and I have it quite a bit above a person's head, so they can obviously walk through this. Right? Now, as we're getting more confident with making sure that our lines are going to the vanishing point, drawing the entire line in and then coming back and erasing it out is kind of a waste of time, and obviously it's going to start leaving lines behind on your drawing that we don't have to have. So as we're getting a little bit more confident with this, as long as you have your ruler on your vanishing point and you know the size of your line that you want to draw in, you could just draw the section of the line that you want to keep, and that's going to save us a lot of time and effort with erasing. Okay, so I drew this line going to the vanishing point, making sure that it's high enough for us. Okay? On either side of that line, I'm going to have a vertical line going straight up and down, go straight down until it hits the floor. So once it hits this line on either side, we're going to stop the line. So just make sure it's even with the edge of the paper and draw that straight down. Okay, so already we can see it kind of looks like a door. If you wanted to just draw a handle or a doorknob right here, we could end it that way, but we want this to look more like a hallway, like an area that you could walk into. So the way that we're going to do that is with a few horizontal lines, right? So we want this to be completely straight across, even with the edge of the floor or even with the edge of the paper, whichever way you want to look at it, right? We're going to do it in the upper corner here and this bottom corner inside of this door shape that we just created. And that's what's going to make it look like this hallway. So completely level, just inside of this little doorway that we drew. We'll do one there, and we're going to do one here. Okay? And then we're going to erase the floor going into this little hallway. Oops. Okay, so now we have our doorway that we can walk into. Right? All right, over on this side, it's going to be kind of similar, but we're going to do a window, again, using the vanishing point. So I'm going to have my window be about the same height as what we used for the doorway, maybe a little bit taller. So again, I'm using the vanishing point. I'm not going to draw the entire line to save some time, and I know I want it to be about this wide. And then the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing using the vanishing point. I'm going to have it go about right here. So 2 lines, both of which went to our vanishing point. Same thing we did for the doorway. We're going to put 2 vertical lines on either side, but we're just going to connect these 2 lines with those vertical lines. All right, so if you wanted to turn this into maybe like a flat screen TV against the wall, all you would have to do is to draw in the thickness of the screen on this side, maybe some cords coming down, whatever image is on the screen itself, and that'd be an easy change. But again, we want to make this look like a window instead. So since we're going to be looking outside, we're also going to be able to notice the actual thickness of the wall here. So we're going to start with that by doing some horizontal lines across from these 2 inside corners. We might not notice too much of a line here, but here and here is where we're going to try. So again, even with the floor or the edge of the paper, we're going to do a horizontal line that we want to have as the thickness of the wall of the house itself. And I'm going to do the same thickness on this side. Okay. Then we're just going to connect those with a vertical line. Okay. And from these 2 corners of this rectangle that we just made, using the vanishing point, we're going to draw a line coming back and then stops when it hits the edge of the window, and then same thing at the top. All right, so now we have a little window looking out. All right, so now we're going to draw in just a little twin-size bed right here, just so you can kind of see how some furniture can be made on the floor here. And then maybe we'll put a carpet over to the side. All right, so the first thing that we got to do is take into account the height of the bed that we want to have. So again, thinking about if this is the person's eye height, I'm going to say the bed should be about this tall, right? So using your ruler at that height that we just kind of marked out, we're going to draw in the width of the bed. Remember, we want this to be a twin size bed, so it's not going to be all that wide at the back here. Okay? So from the left and right side of this line, we're going to continue 2 lines using the vanishing point off the edge of the paper. One line here. One line here. So this is the top of our bed. Right? Then we're just going to bring a vertical line down from here. Stop when it hits the floor, and then same thing using the vanishing point. Right? Now we can come in and erase out the lines that we don't need. And that's going to look a lot more like a surface. All right, so we have the top of the bed, the side of the bed. We could add in some extra little details. Putting a pillow on there. You could have your blanket coming across. Whatever other little details you'd like to include. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do a little carpet off to the side here. And we're going to start with the vanishing point this time and just draw in the sides of the carpet or rug, I guess I should say. So I'm going to have one side be here. We'll have it go about this far. And then I'm just going to connect those with two horizontal lines. Right, so as long as we're using the vanishing point for any lines going back into space, it's going to look like it's in perspective, right? And then you could add in any details you'd like. If you want to challenge yourselves, you could do like a tile floor or a hardwood floor. And again, all those lines going back into space are going to go and use the vanishing point. Or if you wanted to add in some details on your carpet, you could do something like this. If I was going to do something like that, I would measure these pieces to make sure that they're all even, but just to give you an idea, right? And then on the back wall, whatever you want to include, you could have posters, shelves, you could have a doorway going into another room, you could have things hanging from the ceiling, lights, fans, or maybe you could have a skylight looking outside. Totally up to you what you want to include. Just so you guys can kind of see what this technique would look like, which is 1-point linear perspective, to design an interior space of a room. Same thing as our other drawings. Go ahead and take a photograph once you're finished and turn that in on the assignment on Google Classroom, please. All right, guys, have fun.